All right, welcome to Ridestrong Racing and another video. In this video, we are going to be tuning, testing, and making some comparisons to the Lamborghini Centenario. And I wanted to get this video out with just about a day left of the EVO event that's going on, because I'm sure some of you are really looking at this car and wondering, should you upgrade it? Should you add all the epic parts and, you know, all the coins and expenses that are going to come with that? Is it worth doing it? Is it worth having an EVO tune? I was skeptical, and I did get this thing gold and EVO tuned during this event over the past few days. So let's go ahead and get started. And I wanted to say too, actually, I was going to do this video live, just to do my first live video. And unfortunately, when I tried to do live video, I got this message. And yeah, telling me that I need to wait 24 hours basically. So I'm just going to kind of do this video in the same format as if I was doing it live. I got some background music, so we'll see if you guys can hear that. I want to make sure it's not too overpowering. So this is kind of a test run for a live video, just a heads up on that. I really didn't spend much time finding music. I didn't know a good way to stream music, so I just have a channel I found on YouTube that is basically copyright free. So in any case, if the music is crap, you can let me know in the comments below. But here is my Centenario. I do not have the best tune on this thing, but it's okay. Let me show you what I'm working with here before we get started. So you can see for the engine, I do have a light part. Drivetrain, I have neutral. Nitro system, I have a light part. And then I have two heavy parts. Anytime I feel like you can get that special pack with the acceleration aero pack, it's worth having on your car. I just wish it was lighter. That would make a world of difference, I think, with this EVO tune. But I did not have a lot to work with. So I'll show you how unfortunate I was. So when you look at here, here's my two green parts right here, and everything else. Look at this bottom row, just all neutrals and heavies. So in fact, I only had one light part, and I decided I was going to pay the 1,500 tokens to try to get one more part, and I believe it was like this one right here. So in any case, that was what I had to work with here. So let's go back. For those of you that aren't really familiar with tuning at this point, I'm going to go over that with you real quick. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Okay, so I decided I'm going to make this into its own video as far as how to EVO tune. I just spent 7 minutes going over it. This video is already long. It's not about how to EVO tune. It's about comparing this car to other cars. So stay tuned for that video. I will put it out in the next few days. I'm going to stick with what I believe is probably the best tune I can get out of this right now, balance-wise, and this is what it is, okay? So let's go back, and what we're going to do is, let's go ahead and we're going to put touch drive on for a number of these comparisons here. Let me see, I got to go back here. All right, we're going to create match here. Let's go ahead and we will get started. So let's pick race settings. All right, and I think what we'll do is we will start off with some gauntlet tracks. I think it's always good to, you know, test on gauntlet tracks, because I think it's one of the things that people are most curious about. And people a lot of times know those times. They know kind of how to make a comparison. So let's start with something really basic here. And I'm going to go to the Paris map. And let's start with along the Seine. So I'm going to click on that. We're going to go back. And what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to, kind of like some past videos, I'm going to do mostly some touch drives here while I compare these different cars. And that way, it's just going to make it easier to keep this consistent. I also do want to cater this channel to people that are beginning in this game and are probably only starting off using touch drive or getting used to manual drive. So, and then we'll do some manual drives as well, but I want to do a lot of the comparisons up front in touch drive. So, and it'll also just help keep it consistent. All right, it'll keep the same lines for the most part and that sort of thing. So I just think it makes the comparison really good when it comes to comparing these cars. So let's go ahead and we will start this race. And, you know, again, I'm not saying I'm going to be always picking the best lines here or any of that kind of stuff. You know what? I think what we'll do here. I'm going to go straight. I'm going to not take any ramps. Let's see how this does. I'm going to do mostly probably orange nitros. I'm going to pretty much hit them when I can. In all cases here, we're going to drift in places that typically I would drift. Mostly I'm going to try to run these how I would, but you know, in a lot of cases I'm just going to try to keep it consistent. All right, so you can kind of see we got a time there of 29.699. Okay, let's go ahead and I'm going to go back here. So let's remember that was 29.699. Let's go ahead and let's try a different car real quick, and we'll do the same thing. I'll go back, I'll do that again in touch drive. I'll take the ramps, we'll see what kind of difference that makes. Let's pick some cars that I think a lot of you guys are going to be probably comparing this to. So we're not going to be picking, you know, a lot of the better S-Class cars. Let's start with actually some B-Class cars. And I want to pick stuff that probably, hopefully, most everybody has. So let's go ahead and let's just start with the Lamborghini Huracan EVO Spider. I think that's a car that most people either have or are working on. And it's a good B-Class car. In fact, it's one of the stronger B-Class cars. So let's go ahead and try this. So I'm going to start off with no ramps again. You know, because that'll definitely be making a difference here. You know, that Centenario with the aero pack should really help airspeed, and the ramps should really boost the time. So again, I'm going to kind of try sticking with the same nitros here, same drifting for the most part. That's sticking on an orange nitro. I probably should have drifted that, actually. Okay, so this actually got a slightly better time. So on the flat track, this actually got a little bit of a better time. So if you remember, the Centenario got 29.699. This just got 29.233. All right. Let's go ahead and, you know, real quick, let's just compare it, since that beat that time. Let's go ahead and let's just compare it to, again, something else that pretty much everybody should have. Let's compare it to the Corvette Grand Sport. All right, let's see how this does real quick. I definitely don't plan to use this for all these comparisons, but since the Huracan EVO Spider beat it, let's see what this can do. If this beats it, yeah, it's probably kind of sad. So let's see what we do here. Okay. All right, 29.999. So slower than the Centenario. Not by a lot, by about 3/10. I think exactly 3/10, in fact. All right, so let's go ahead now and let's try it with the ramps and see what we get. And then we'll move on to another track. We'll stick with trust drive for now. And this one, you'll see, I think once it goes off that last ramp, you know, it's going to kind of slam into the wall on touch drive. I don't think there's really any way around that. Okay, not bad. We got shockwave there. I have noticed with this thing that it builds a shockwave pretty quick. Yeah. So, I mean, that is nice in a lot of cases. All right, 27.999. So, you know, that beat our previous time by a good amount. You know, that first time without the ramps was 29.699. So, what is that? That's 1.3 seconds? Is that right? No, it's actually more than that. It's closer to 1.6 seconds, I guess. Well, correct me if my math is wrong there, but it's certainly a faster time by over a second. All right, let's go ahead. Let's do the same thing with the Huracan, and we'll see what we get. And I don't think we'll probably waste our time with the Grand Sport on this time around. All right, here we go. And I would say, you know, in most cases, this the Huracan EVO Spider is really one of those better B-class cars that most people are going to have. I think it's better than the Invincible. Oh. Okay. Hold on. Let's restart that. Sorry, I wasn't paying enough attention there. All right, one more try. Okay, here we go. Okay, that also got shockwave. Long shockwave. Did not quite get shockwave there like the Centenario did. All right, and this got 28.833. I think that's a comparable run. What do you guys think? So basically a full second slower. And in the Gauntlet, a full second is everything. You know, I don't think it's worth rerunning that. Let me know in the comments below moving forward if when I'm doing these tests you think that deserved a rerun. But I mean, I think it was pretty dang close to the Centenario's ramp run, and it was a full second slower. So even if it was a half of a second, that's a decent amount when we're making these kind of comparisons on these super quick Gauntlet races. All right, let's go ahead and let's go to a different track. Let's go to race settings. And let's go to, let's do ghost ships. So let's go to Scotland, track, where is it? There it is, ghost ships. Ghost ships has a fair number of ramps in it. So let's see how it does here. And maybe we'll compare with some other things. Maybe we'll compare with the Invincible. And I'll show you guys some of the other things I'm working with. I do kind of wish this was a live video because I was hoping you guys could tell me, hey, use that car, use this car. But we'll have to try this again with something else. and we'll do it again. Besides, I only have 350 subscribers. This channel's barely over a month old, so I probably would have had like maybe 1 or 2 people watching anyway. So hopefully moving forward though, we can get this channel built up. I'm really hoping to hit 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible so that I can get you guys the Asphalt Legends creator content and rewards codes that comes along with that. But that'll help me to provide you guys with more content. All right, let's see here. So I think we're all ready. We'll go ahead and keep it in touch drive for this. And probably on the next track, we'll maybe play around with manual drive a little bit. So for now, we'll keep it testing in touch drive. Whoa, that was a big jump. I don't see that often. Let's get the ramp. All right, 25,599. So, pretty decent time. I feel like I kind of want to run that one again. But first, let's go ahead and let's just see let's try the Huracan. Let's test it with that again and make that comparison first. And maybe we'll run that one again because I feel like I've done that test with this and I think it got a better time. Let's run it with the Huracan again here. And I will say, my Solus is probably one of my best B-Class cars. I think it beats the Invincible, it beats the Huracan. It is a quick car. Its acceleration is crazy. Doesn't have quite the top speed as the others, but it's not lacking by much. But I don't think many people have that. It was at one of the events, I think. I can't remember what the deal with it was, but I don't think a lot of people got that car. If you have it, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I'll do more stuff with that in the future. All right. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, I think hitting that building, hitting the ship there, I have not actually seen that before. At least not when I've been kind of playing around with this. I think that definitely affected that time. I think maybe I hit my nitro a little too early is what maybe happened on it. Oh, that slid out big time. All right, so 26.233. The Centenario was 25.59, I believe. So let's go ahead. I think that this probably could not get too much of a better time. You know what? Let's run it one more time with both. I want to get good comparisons here. And that thing really did kind of slide out. I don't think it was enough to really slow it down much. Maybe just like 1/10 of a second. But let's just run that one more time and see what we get. Alright, I think we got a better run here. Alright, you know what? Actually, I think it was slower. So that was 26.466. Yeah, I thought that was better, but it was just 1/10 of a second or so slower than my last one. Let's run the Centenario one more time. So yeah, one thing to keep in mind is, especially in most of the tracks but especially in the tracks that have, you know, a number of ramps and stuff like that, is where those aero packs really help these EVO cars big time. I've noticed it on every car I've put it on, where it's the Chiron, the Valkyrie. By the way, if you don't have it and you ever get the chance to get the Valkyrie, that thing is amazing. It is right up there with the Chiron as far as my S-Class cars go. and it's fun to drive too. It handles great. So, all right, we didn't hit the ship on this one. Let's see. Ooh, 26,399. So, that was actually like the same time as we got with the Huracan, and slower than the first time we got with this. What did I do different on that one? All right, just for consistency's sake, let's just try that one more time, and we'll just kind of see what our average is looking like. And I could be totally messing these up. I'm trying to, commentate this at the same time as I'm trying to focus. So I probably didn't do something right. Okay, there we go. I think that the first time with this and this time are going to be more what you're looking at. So 25.233. I think, again, now this is going to be probably a full second faster than the Huracan EVO Spider. So looking pretty good right now as far as at least this beating out all the B-class cars. Why don't we do this? Let's go ahead. I think since this is beating all the B-class cars, let's, before we leave this track and go to a different one, let's see what the Vanda does on this. It's arguably one of the best A-class cars, certainly one that's accessible for people to get. It's probably personally my best A-class car. I don't have anything else as gold. I'm looking forward to getting this gold, by the way. I don't think it's going to be super impressive. It is really fun to drive. I was hoping this was going to be better, but I've just not been super impressed, and I just haven't wanted to spend on finishing getting it gold as of yet. And then nothing I'm really else close to. This I actually just maxed out to 6 stars. I think I will go ahead and gold that. I have all the import parts I need for it. But before we waste any more time, let's go ahead. Let's get the Vanda here and try that. So what do we have to beat? We have to beat 25.233, I believe it was. Let's see if this can do it. It should beat the Huracan, I would think. It's maybe not quite as aerodynamic. I think that stuff does come into play in this game. Alright, we got Shockwave. Let's ride that out. Alright, pretty good, I think. We'll take the ramp for consistency's sake. Alright, 25.466. So about 0.2 of a second slower than the Centenario. We'll keep testing with this, I think, at this point, because I think it's going to be pretty safe to say that the Centenario is going to be beating most of the B-class cars. All right, let's go ahead and let's just go back. We'll get our Centenario. Confirm. No. Let's go to race settings. Let's do Paris of the East. Let's go ahead, and that is in Shanghai. And Paris of the East. Okay, we'll start off with touch drive. We'll do a manual drive, I think, on this track. All right, here we go. All right, of course, trip this corner. Take this right lane. Ramp. Second ramp. Oh, a little sliding around there. Probably not the best. Let's see what this gets. We might have to rerun that. Yeah, 29.266. Okay, 29.266. Before we rerun that, let's see what the Vanda can do. We will run the same route. Alright, I didn't know drifting there. I'm going to have to try that with the Centenario. 28.399, so better time by almost a full second. Let's redo that with the Centenario. I think I did that poorly. Alright, so we got to beat 28.39, is that what it was? Yeah, so which is about a full second almost than what we got first time with this. A little different there. Okay, so a little slower still than the Vanda. And I mean, you know, I will say that sometimes, you know, that Vanda can do amazingly well on certain tracks. It can definitely compete with some S-Class cars. There's no doubt about it. So I think I did not do the great. You know what? Let's go ahead. Let's just see what we can do on a manual drive on this one. Alright, we got manual drive off. Oh, click that. I did not want to do that. 28.666, so not the greatest manual drive in the world, but it was a little bit better than we got in touch drive. So, all right, let's go ahead and let's move on. So I would call that one maybe a slight advantage for the Vanda. Probably I could have done a little bit better with the Centenario. But I don't want to spend too much time kind of rerunning races and that sort of thing. Let's mix it up a little bit. Let's do just a longer track. Let's see how it does on something that's a little longer, because clearly that makes a difference, especially when you're comparing S-Class cars with a higher top speed and, you know, with B-Class cars certainly, and maybe to some degree the Vanda. So let's go ahead and let's do, I like the track. I always like to use the same tracks for comparison. So I do like this 1,000 Minarets, or however you pronounce that. Let's do this one. And let's just run let's run a manual drive, since that's where we're at right now, and let's see what kind of a time we get, and then maybe we'll do a comparison with something else, of course. But you know, with this track we'll really be able to get a good idea on just how this thing handles, how it feels. I know a lot of people take that bottom track. I usually just go up. Otherwise, I tend to slam into that building all the time. Alright, not terrible. A little high on that ramp. It's probably okay though, given the aero pack to some degree. Okay, I'll take it. Yeah, the other thing too with these aero packs is that they really help with your directional air changes. So if you're trying to change direction while you're in the air, or steer, I guess you could say, in the air, that makes they make a huge difference. They help with that a lot. Oh, dang, we were doing so well. I mean, it's not like it was perfect, but of course I just had to hit that car at the end there. Pretty decent. Alright, 118. Should have had 117 something, if not even upper 116s if I wouldn't hit that car. So at 118, let's go ahead. Let's see what the Vanda does. We'll use touch drive for that though. Just so we can kind of keep some comparisons going for some of you touch drive drivers. Let's go ahead, see what the Vanda would do in touch drive. Alright, I'm not really sure what to expect. I don't think I've ever actually even raced this same exact track with the Vanda in touch drive. Definitely, I'm not going to be able to do the same stuff. Hold on a second. Let's redo that. Because I'm pretty sure I can go up and take that same ramp. Alright, here we go. Touch drive. Yeah, this thing definitely doesn't quite hit the shockwave quite like the Centenario does with its tune. The Centenario can just really hit that shockwave well. Whoa. Okay. I can't remember what we can do in touch drive here. Yeah, we can kind of take the same route. Okay. I would say we're definitely not doing too bad as far as our comparison goes. I feel like this is a pretty fair drive compared to my manual drive. Ooh, I think we're going to do pretty well. Oh, we beat it. Look at that. So, I'm kind of surprised about that, actually. The Vanda beat it by about 0.3 of a second, maybe 0.4 of a second, I guess, if we're going to the hundredths there. So, out of curiosity's sake, I think it's worth it. For those of you that are still sticking around in this video, let's do a touch drive. And, you know, there's no doubt, I hit that car. We got to keep that in mind. I forgot about that. Let's do a touch drive, though, with the Centenario. And that'll be our true comparison. Yeah, I forgot I hit that car at the end. That probably definitely lost me at least a half a second, if not even a full second. I bet it lost me a full second. In which case, this would have beat the Vanda. Like I said, I should be able to run that same race I just ran with the Vanda with the Centenario and touch drive here. So, let's see. Ramp, nitro, ramp again. Should hold some nitro. Okay. Oh, we didn't get shockwave there. Got it there, though. Alright, so far so good, I think. did do that. Oh, let's stick with the blue shockwave here. Got. Oh God. All right, I think that's fair. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, but I think that's probably not going to change it too much. Oh, look at that. So, you know what? I mean, the Vanda's got a slight leg up on this, maybe. I mean, you know, also maybe my drives weren't quite as good. But I think you got to put these at about a tie, probably, this with the Vanda on that track. So keep in mind, too, guys, if I had a better EVO tune on this, I think we'd be getting, like, at least probably a second better on, you know, virtually all of these tracks. All right, so let's do one more. Let's go ahead. Let's do something with some decent air, and let's test it on Leap of Faith. So let's go ahead and keep in mind, you know, this is going to probably beat all those B-class cars. So we can almost just take those out of the running. Let's go ahead and test maybe one or two of them again, though, in this one. So let's go to race settings. That is in what? Himalayas. Yeah, Himalayas. Leap of Faith. We got another gauntlet track here. And it should do well, I think, with that aero pack. So let's just see how it does. I'm just going to go straight off this thing in all these cases here. Alright, 20.066. This one is very simple for the most part. It's kind of hard to screw this one up. Let's go ahead and test it against 20.066. Let's go ahead and try... let's try the Huracan again. Let's see what it does. I can tell you guys that I have gotten some really good times with that Centenario. I've been using it for Gauntlet. I've probably been getting some better times than I've been doing here in this video. So keep that in mind. Alright, so what did this get? Did this get slightly better? I think it was it 20.0 something with the... Well, that just got 20.199. Okay, that's a good time. Let's see what the Vanda gets. Alright. I think that might be the exact same time that the Centenario got 20.266. I think it is. Alright, so let's... You know what? Just to mix it up, we're towards the end of the video here. Let's try another one that most everybody's going to kind of have, and let's try the Invincible. Alright, here we go. Keep in mind, all these cars I've been testing with are gold. I guess as they should be. The Centenario is gold with EVO. Definitely didn't get the same kind of nitro that that Spider gets. Yeah, 20.399. So still pretty good. All right, you know what? One more time. We are going to do the Centenario one more time here. Maybe I've been doing the nitros a little different at the beginning, so let me just do this the same as I've been doing with the other ones, which is just riding through them here. We'll start off with orange nitro. Let's just get all these. Ooh, look at that. So, okay, this might be a little different. What are we going to get? Orange nitro here. I didn't get that the first time with this. 19.833. So that is the best time. I guess that's close to what the... Is that close with what the Vanda got? Or did the Vanda get 20 something? You know, I'll have to go back and put some edits into this. Because now I'm forgetting I did so many runs. So, but this thing definitely beat the B-class cars at 19.833. So, I mean, overall, guys, I do think this is a strong car when you have it gold and Evo tuned, and it can definitely get better. You know, keep in mind, again, I have a pretty crap tune on this with only having 2 light parts. I think if you can get a light aero pack on this, or even a neutral aero pack, or just something better than the heavy aero pack, is going to help a good amount. And I think they, if I'm not mistaken, they have what they call like the aero reduction, weight reduction pack or something like that. So yeah, you know, those kind of tunes can really help with your performance big time. And just kind of another look at this. This is what, again, I'm working with here. The 2 light parts is what really hurts. If I had 3 light parts, would make a huge difference, I think. It'd get us probably a better rank. And in addition, it would lighten this thing up for these heavier parts on here. And I just think it would perform probably a full second better than, you know, all those other times that we got. And maybe even like maybe even like 4 light parts is, you know, but I think this thing definitely has some room to play around with. But hopefully you guys got something out of this. I do think that if you have the opportunity and you already don't have, you know, a much better garage that you're working with than, you know, making this gold and Evo, I think it's definitely worth it for, you know, those of you that have, you know, even a pretty good B class garage and even a decent A class garage. I think this is going to beat most all of those things. Again, I did some gauntlet drives with this, with the current gauntlet that's on, and it is holding up with some of my other really good S-Class car times. It's just falling under like the Chiron and my Valkyrie, and my Cyan is gold. So, you know, it's not quite up there with those. But again, it is beating pretty much all the B-class stuff and probably most all the A-class stuff for the most part. So again, I think it's worth it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you're still with me, just for fun, you can cut out now. But I was able to get the last 2 import parts for my Pure Sport. So I am pretty excited to gold that. And if you just want to see it go gold, stick around for another minute here. But otherwise, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. Help me build the channel so that I can get set up on the Asphalt Legends Unite creator content, get you guys more content, and the reward codes too, free reward codes that I can send out to you guys once I get that. I've already been able to send out quite a few that I've just found on other platforms and that sort of thing. So hopefully you guys have been able to take advantage of that and watch out for them. I do recommend hitting the notification bell, and that way, you know, especially when I'm releasing those codes, you guys can get those right away before they either expire or before their quota gets reached. So here we are, gold on the Pure Sport. I'm excited for that and to use it for the rest of the current gauntlet. So, you know, here's my garage too. I did have somebody request that I do a video on my garage and some of my best cars. I'm still kind of trying to decide on how I want to go about that, and you know, if I'm going to do some races or some comparisons with them. And you guys can see I don't have a real heavy garage. I mean, I haven't been playing real long, and you know, I was a free-to-play player for the longest time. I've been more recently spending some money, so I do plan on building this up. You know, when the SF90 Stradale is coming up in its event here, I think it's just one of the key cars used. It's not the featured car. I am going to buy that thing, and I am going to put as much into it as I can, because I want that. I want it gold, and I want that Evo tuned. So I'm just going to go through B, but you guys can see that's kind of what I'm working with. For those of you, as I mentioned it before, if you ever get the opportunity, if you don't have it already, get this Solus. It is probably my best B-class car. That thing really does outperform everything else here in this B class, at least that I have gold. Now I'm working on this, so I will be golding my 911 GT3 RS probably next season when I can use some of the wild cards with that. So that one is going to be one of my better B class cars at that point. This Volkswagen W12 Coupe. Now I'm kind of doing my garage. I'll save this for another video, but that thing's basically garbage, at least in my opinion. So anyway, again, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. See you in the next one.